Well, since we've got you, we can go ahead and start unless we're waiting for everyone else.
Katie could be another half an hour,
Really?
No, there's some. I'll talk as if she's here. No, I couldn't split the Republican.
Let's talk a little bit about your character's journey from the original viewpoint that he had of Arrow to the newer, more helpful detective. Or who's now was then a beat cop. How do you feel about all of that?
Well, it's been great actually. I mean, obviously that's the glory of having a season or 2 or 3 or more, is that you get to develop these characters in interesting ways. And obviously the way these writers write, they do it so well with the complexity and depth that they give the characters and the storylines, that from an acting point of view, you just sort of pick up the ball and be like, oh, I've got a nice ball to play with. So that was a good analogy, wasn't it? It's been a lot of fun, because obviously he was pretty antagonistic in the first season, but then, you know, he's got some brains in his head, and he realised by the end of 23 episodes of Arrow time, you know, Starling City time, that the guy seems to be doing something good for this city after all. A bit left field at first, clearly, but with a big earthquake going on, it's season 1 finale, obviously that was the turning point for Lance. And it was interesting because in the second season, although he took a hit personally and was demoted and, you know, humiliated in a way, in his heart he knew he'd really done the right thing, but because he could see that this guy was doing good by the city, and so he was able to, you know, get context of that. All that water's for me, that whole thing. So yeah, the bigger picture, he could see that, you know what, I'll take a hit because this guy actually does do good by the city. So yeah, it's nice how that's changed actually. Thank you so much, Tony. And now in season 3, you know, there's a slightly different shift in the dynamic between not just Lance and Arrow, but the Starling City Police Department, and Arrow in general. So yeah, it's been nice to get to have fun with these things.
So you received the promotion to captain in season 3. So can you
Don't tell anybody that. It's a big secret. Yes.
But can you tell us a little bit about that and how it's going to work?
Well, you know I can't really tell you much because I get shot otherwise. There'll be an arrow just come flying through the room, and that'll be the end of my interview. But yeah, as I was touching on there, the dynamic does change, and there's an interesting Lance's first speech regarding how, well, after everything that happened 5 months ago, as the previous season is deemed to be, you know, Lance is standing there as a captain, so he got acknowledged the other way, the positive way in this instance, but of course nobody's acknowledged this other guy. But in that speech we then see how he is being acknowledged by the city. Katrina Law, Caity Lotz, who can't come in here, darling, I'm interviewing. We've only got 2 seats, so then what? Yeah, we've got another seat. Okay, the lovely ladies are here.
Thank you for joining us.
You're most friends.
Katrina Law, Caity Lotz, ladies and gentlemen. Right, have we finished that question and answer? Probably. Okay.
We're good.
All right.
It might be a good time to talk about the family dynamic, considering who's just arrived. Would you guys like to talk a little bit about how that's
my daughter's love choice, my daughter's choice of partner in life.
Do you approve of me? Do you approve of me?
There was what was that nice moment in one of the scenes where the penny drops for Lance when she's, what was the line you say when I'm like, well, who is she and all the rest of it, and then you say something, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Such a great moment.
I can't remember what that line was. Lance is a bit of a grumpy old fellow, let's face it, a bit rooted in previous decades. But I think even for him at that moment, although that was a bit of a challenge for him to acknowledge this situation, I think actually even for him though, he's like, as he said it, I think he said later in that episode, you know, as long as you're happy, I don't care what it is, you know, and if that's how you're happy, then fine. And isn't that just the way it should be?
Well, it seems like the character is very adaptable, and as the series has gone on, he's become more and more accepting of things around him.
I think he would have, I don't think he would have been here for much longer if he hadn't really to cope with. He has. He's had to reconcile a lot of things, you know, the way his daughters behave, particularly this one coming back, thought she'd be the same college student as she was when she left, and clearly that wasn't the case. So there's a bit of reconciling to do there, and everything that's happened since. Yeah, there's a lot, but it's great writing that these guys do. You know, it gives you lots to play around with.
Yeah.
That was Katie's interview. Anything else?
Katie, can you tell us a little bit about your audition process with Sarah? Like, did you know it was going to be
I
for the
did not
Canary?
know. I auditioned for a character named Lisa.
That's my
Who
name.
was Lisa?
Oh.
Oh, you. Sorry.
It was you. I was auditioning for you, and they, the sides were about like the arrow killed her brother because her brother was selling vertigo or something like that, and I remember I really liked it because the character was so strong. She was there to like give the arrow shit. Like it wasn't like she's this weak whatever. She's a very strong character even just from the audition sides. So I auditioned and it went well. Actually, it went bad, and I thought I wasn't gonna get it. And they said I wasn't gonna get
Those
it.
are the parts you get, the ones that go bad.
Well, they just said like, oh, you're not the CW type. Sorry. And then no, really, this
Did they
really
really
happened.
say that?
Yeah, no, I really got that. That's really what that funneled down. That's what I heard.
That
And
was-
then they were like, oh, never mind. We're flying Stephen and Mel in to like do a chemistry read with you. So they flew Stephen into LA. We did a read together, and then after that, it was still like a long process of. It was a great part. It was a big part, important part. So they wanted to make sure they got it, someone that fit how they wanted it. And then after I booked it is when they told me like that it was going to be Sarah Lance, and that it was going to be Canary.
Oh, so that was probably just a lot of old shrouding and everything, just so that you wouldn't walk out there and go get the whole storyline away.
Well,
I probably knew that
the
all
thing
along.
is I had a meeting with Andrew where they told me everything, like they spilled the beans. And literally maybe it was that same day, it was Comic-Con weekend, it leaked that I was playing Sarah Lance. And then the head of CW leaked that it was the Canary or whatever.
Okay.
So all the secrets leaked, but it was still fun. Yeah.
Excellent.
How much did it come into play, the parkour that I've seen just some wonderful videos out there of you doing all kinds of jumping around?
I got to do a little bit of the parkour, but a lot of the fighting training has really, that's what came in handy. And I hadn't trained with weapons before. Well, I trained with sword, but I had never used a bow staff. So that was different for me, and it was fun working with the stunt team to kind of get that stuff down.
Can I ask a question? How was your audition process? What were you offered?
We did chemistry, I remember.
Right. So when I was called in, I think my character's name was Greta or Jen. Or
Jennifer Smith.
Jennifer
Probably,
Smith.
right?
And I was doing this really intense, kind of smitten and spiteful lover of Oliver. And, kind of got brought in for that. And then they said, you're going to be doing a chemistry read. And I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, okay, so you're going to do this chemistry with this girl that's on the show. Her name is Katie. And I was like, what? I was like, okay, so where are my new sides? And they're like, no, we want you to use the same sides. And I was like,
What's going on?
okay, but do you want me to, okay, because this one I'm like very heavily interested in Oliver. Do you want me to change it so now like she's more like my sister or something? Like, no, just do it exactly the same. Okay, is my character going to be a lesbian? We can't tell you that. Okay, because it would really help out in my read and my choices if I knew whether I should treat this woman I'm reading with as a sister or a lover, because there is a difference. And they're like, we can't tell you that. Just read it exactly.
But just read it like you did.
Like
for
you
the-
did,
yeah.
exactly the same. And I was like, okay. And then, of course, I walk in, and here's this Katie that I've never seen. Actually, no, I watched her parkour, and I was just like, oh my gosh, she's so badass. It's awesome. So I walked in, I'm like, okay, this is weird. And I think there was this moment where there was just like, we just stared at each other. Just kind of like, okay, let's do this. And we didn't really have a chance to work together or prepare or anything. So I think we were both just trying to act as, I don't even know, it was such an odd audition of just, I don't know.
We're like, all right, we're lesbian lovers now, perfect.
And I was like, is she shorter than I am? And I'm not used to that. So it was just like, it was like all these weird dynamics to like suddenly switch and adjust to. And then I was offered the part, and then I didn't find out until TV Guide announced it what part I was.
Really?
Are you
Yeah.
serious? So you still
TV.
thought you were Jennifer Smith or something?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. And I thought maybe
Goodness.
that because we were going online trying to guess who my character might be, and I was like, oh, maybe Lady Shiva or something like that because of the way it read, you know what I mean? And then found out that it was Nissa Bull. It was really cool because her character, she's only been in the comics for 19 episodes. So there's a lot that they could do with her character, so that was really exciting. That was my audition process.
He's casting audition. It's all a big ruse, really, isn't it? You've got a clue who they're auditioning for.
I feel like they lie to us, so we can't lie to you. Like, we can't tell you anything because we just don't know.
What was that like? You all have these parts that are ingrained in the comics, and you have backstory, and you get to play with the characters that have existed, and you get to look at that stuff, source material. What's that, your process going with creating characters?
I think it can be a little bit of pressure if you let it, especially because I was talking to some a girl today, and she was saying like she grew up on the Black Canary comics and she loved the Black Canary and how much it meant to her. And when she said that, you know, that the way I portrayed it was exactly how she envisioned it, was like such a compliment. And because the show is for, you know, it's for the fans, and so you want to be true and like kind of bring everything you can from it, but at the same time you have to do something original and do it your own thing. So I think the more you have to like kind of just take the pressure off and just go dive into it as best you can, deep as you can, as putting yourself into it.
Is there going to be some point in time where you're using your little sonic blaster and you get hit by a bolt of lightning and like merge with it so it's part of your voice?
That could be cool.
Like Paul said earlier, anything's possible.
Yeah, anything is possible.
I think I felt the opposite with Nissa, going back to, because she's only been in 19 comics, she's really an unexplored character, so I feel like between myself and the writers, we were free to take her anywhere we wanted, giving her an accent that's kind of from nowhere, having her be a lesbian, doing anything we wanted, and it was a lot of pressure knowing that I wasn't playing Talia, because Talia has been played and done and has been portrayed by so many people, and people have so many opinions about who's done it right and who's done it injustice and all this other stuff. So for me, I'm just kind of like, I can do what I want, and I'm kind of setting the standard with this character. So for me, I love it. How about you? How do you feel about the
The
paunch?
paunch, yes. Yes, the lance paunch. Apparently has a paunch in the comic books, and I wasn't interested in that too much. So I'm really not a very authentic actor at all. I tend to, I think, of course there's the mythology that is very much been created in the comic book, but to me it's really obvious what the producers, the television show producers are going to do. And you know, their interpretations may be different, I don't know, but I tend to just sort of zero in on the producers and say, guys, what's your interpretation of this? Because for me personally, I'll probably just get all a bit confused if I start going into a comic book world, and my brain's can only take so much. So I just go straight to the producers and be like, okay, what's your take on the character, the mythology? What does he know about all this other world? And that's kind of, I can sort of roll around in this ignorance beautifully, because of course that's what Lance does. And Lance hasn't got a clue. Like I said in the panel earlier on, he's just wondering why everybody's dressed like this. It's like, why can't you just wear normal clothes? You know, it's all, you know, everyone looks fabulous, but he doesn't really understand why it's going on. I had that Halloween costume line with you the other day, didn't they? I personally, for me, I just tend to go with, you know, we're shooting a TV show, we're not writing the comic book, so. And whatever they want to give to us, we'll take from that. So.
Yeah, there's definitely more pressure on characters like the Black Canary and Arrow.
Yeah, I think for these guys.
More, whereas we can kind of do what we want.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a different story for the well-established.
They have a Bible
characters.
that they need to
Yeah, there's a
to.
Bible. Yeah. Yeah, I just had a paunch and I wasn't interested in it. So screw what's in the comic books.
Speaking of backstory, I really enjoyed the episode where there was the serial killer who was making the dolls, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
that was very creepy and a wonderful visit into the detective's past and everything. Are we going to see more things like that in the upcoming season?
Well, what they tend to do, you know, and we're seeing it now as we're on episode 5 of this season, is, you know, everybody sort of gets their episode every so often, because you've got such great characters, rich, diverse characters, and as I said, you know, the beautiful thing about these seasons continuing is that you can get to explore them more and more and more, and that was obviously an example of an exploration into Lance's past. And there's quite a geeky character with blonde hair and glasses, I can't remember her name, but she's having a little exploration at the moment in something that's being shot currently, and and it's the same for all of us. And we had such fun with the flash, the flashbacks in Flash. Oh dear, the flashback, the Lance family flashbacks. Remember all that stuff? It was like we were shooting a sitcom or something. It was like, oh, the Lances are so happy, oven gloves and pizza and everything. It's just like, is this the same show? Oh no, it's 5 years prior to all the tragedy and disaster, So it's fun, doing all, getting that chance to do all that. So yeah.
Paul, you addressed this when you first came in, but I want to ask Katie, what is it like in the comics? It's usually pretty black and white. Who's good, who's evil. And in this show, everyone has these massive arcs. Canary, we see her as the college kid, and we see the backstory of the family, and then we get to see even Nissa, who is Ra's al Ghul's daughter, is bad. But there's an underlying, sense of caring and warmth to her as well. What's it like as actors to be able to stretch your muscles and do such a big range of, not just black and white stuff? I mean,
I think it's anytime you have more layers, more complexity, it's more interesting, it's more challenging, it's more fun. And in life, it's nobody's just good or evil. There's an Oscar Wilde quote. What is it? It doesn't matter if it's not about being good or bad. It's about being charming or tedious. And I feel like, and I think with these characters, you get to delve into so many different areas and mix and blend, and they could dip their toes into evil, but then sometimes it's charming and you like it, and other times it's not. And I think it's fun.
It's kind of interesting because that the medium of television obviously gives the chance to explore that. You take a film or a play, it's going to be a three-act structure, and this happens, that, and then that, structure. And obviously certain characters are there to form certain roles and functions within that story. But with this ongoing television format that you can have if season 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. There's so much to explore, and like you're saying, everybody in life is not definitively good or bad at any one time all the way through. And with this, you get to see that reflected, really, and how human beings can be just downright peculiar, not necessarily good or bad. And that is what's kind of interesting about the television thing. Anything?
Yes.
Yes.
I do. I love what the writers do on this show. I feel like a lot of times when you have comic book heroes or supervillains, they're either heroes or supervillains. And a lot of times in the movies, you always know who the hero is, and they always try to do good. They might have one little mess up here or there. Or the same thing with the villains. They just come in, and from the moment they step in, you know who the bad guy is. And I think the beautiful thing that the producers and writers on the show do is make everybody really human and real, and give them very human motivations, and a lot of times it is love or jealousy or anger or betrayal that motivates them as it does in real life. So
it's very sort of nuanced. And I was saying earlier on the panel, I'm obsessed with Katrina's character as well, because you think, oh, she's bad. She's like, maybe she's all right. No, she's bad. I don't know, maybe she's all right. And it's fascinating. It's great writing, And then what you bring to it, and it's like, it's a real treat being in a situation like this. As actors, we're very fortunate because we're obviously in a realm of some great writing and producing, and just this mythology, and you kind of turn the pages and like, goodness me, this is an interesting week's work ahead, There's some good stuff.
one of my favorite characters for that is actually the Canary character, because the writers do such a great job of giving her so many circumstances that if you were to just judge her character by that one, like sleeping with Oliver, your sister's
I don't talk about that in front of me.
Well, sorry. Normally that would define you as definitively bad throughout the entire series, but because she does so many other things and they've made the other things just as important or more important than that one act, she's suddenly
redeemed.
Yeah.
In different ways.
Yeah. They do such a great job with her character of just kind of like giving her all these nuances, and you don't know, and like it's when you watch television, I feel like a lot of people want to instantly judge and instantly go, you're good, you're bad, you're white, you're black, you're this, you're that, and it's hard with any of these characters to put them into any kind of box, and I think that's the beauty of Arrow, so the writers do a good job of it.
You raised an excellent point about the female characters in the show, actually, and how, as you were saying, her character is more nuanced. I feel like in superhero shows, there's a better chance that your female character is not just going to be characterized as like, the party girl or the whatever it is. What's your experience been with this versus other shows you've worked on regarding those kinds of characters?
Well, I know one of the things I love about Nissa is probably my favorite character that I've ever done. And I compare her a lot to my character on Spartacus, which was Mira. And I love Mira, and she was such a tragic figure. Like, I don't know how many you are aware of Spartacus, but she was such a tragic figure in that she loved a man, she wanted this, she wanted freedom, and at the end of the day, she never really got anything that she wanted, but she was constantly fighting for it. And I just remember, as an actor, just begging for more from my character to move beyond. Hello.
Well, the actress is drunk.
Party animals. To move beyond and be able to fight for something other than a man, or to fight for something bigger. And one of the great things about my Arrow character is that she's about her own personal agenda, and she's about love, and she's about the League of Assassins and the overall goal and morals of that. And it just feels bigger and epic instead of so, like, is that the right word? I need to make stop it. Focused?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Pick a word, and that's the one I want.
Myopic.
Right, they're myopic.
It's not so myopic, it's more epic. There we go. Scope.
I'm pointing to him as yes.
So, first of all, fuck the Emmys, because
Did you say
Arrow,
fuck him?
I did, because Arrow has the best stunt work on television, period.
Network.
Stephen would be happy.
Yeah.
You say that.
What was y'all's experience with the stunt work on the show? Because obviously it's the best something you did.
Well, I do all my own stunts. Oh yes, I ran across the room once. Oh, it's awesome.
He was brilliant.
I did that myself.
Gotta get rid of that paunch.
He brought tears to her eyes.
Just see that.
They slow-moed it.
The stunt team is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Those guys are
What they're able to achieve on an episodic show, I mean, it's feature film stuff that they're doing, and with very little time, and it's really insane what they do. I'm like, there's so much of it that I'm like, oh, I want to do it, and then I'm like, okay, wait, no, maybe not. Atlin, you go ahead. Like, they're ridiculous.
Okay, I just one funny bit. So when one of those Mirakuru gentlemen came bursting into the police department at one stage, it's like, oh goodness me, who are these men? They had, a couple of stunts lined up where I was going to get thrown across the room, and then one guy was going to get pushed across the room, and all the rest of it. And it was just, you think, okay, so, there's a rig set up on the wall, the cop's here, there's the rope, and the guy's going to push him there, and you're like, oh, slamming against the wall. But no, he doesn't go slamming against the wall backwards. He spins clockwise, upside down, and lands upside down against the wall. You're like, of course, you couldn't just make it a straightforward slam against the wall. He's got to spin around several times and land upside down, planted against the wall. And like, geez, you guys, but they constantly do that. Every time you see the stunt sequences, you kind of read it and you think, oh, that's probably going to be that, that's going to be that. But every time they just bring in, they just up it and up it and up it. Just little things like that each time, don't you think?
Yeah.
They just always surprising you.
Yeah, James Bamford is
Slightly genius.
a legend. He literally, it's like he's running a military when he runs his crew. Because they'll be sitting around, doing whatever they do, and all of a sudden he'll be like, all right, guys, it's up. And then they all get up, they nail it, whatever 50-step sequence that they all do, all at the same time, and then they sit down and they go back to doing whatever, and then they go, I'll do it again, and they go, and then Atlin,
It is, yeah.
yeah, the girl who doubles us, she used to be with Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She's the one who does all of the silk falls and all that other stuff, and
Going from the motorbike onto the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
yeah, and then she wears a little tank top, and her muscles just bam, 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 bam. You're like, oh, yes, you can double me, and her ass is smaller than mine, so it's a good thing. Makes me look good.
Maybe I'll use her as a stand-up. Okay.
If I may switch slightly off of Arrow just to Dragoncon, is this y'all's first Dragoncon, and if so, or even if it's not, are you enjoying your time here and seeing everything that's going on? With
I just love hearing things like yow.
Y'all
That's one bit of American I just love.
You want some sweet tea?
I
We
love
had
it.
sweet tea at lunch.
Yeah. I think this is the best cosplay I've ever seen. It's so amazing, and everybody's so chill. It's just it's just kind of like everyone's relaxed, dressed as whatever they're dressed as, just like walking around.
What did you call it? The best what? What?
Cosplay, where they just as characters from whatever it is.
I'm just picking up these terms.
And then they lay Easter eggs.
Yeah, the Easter egg bunnies all over the place. There's some pretty impressive costumes out there. is it me or do the ladies like to take all their clothes off? It's a bit like Halloween, isn't it? It's just a big I can wear nothing. There we go.
Wait till tonight.
Right, yeah. Well, after the tequila and all the rest of it.
Is this, wait,
I think
so,
I'm going to go home.
not first Dragoncon. Oh, it's all of our first Dragoncon.
Yes, we are 3.
It's great, and I love Atlanta, so it's one of my favorite cities.
It does seem like everyone here is friends. It's kind of cool. Like every time I get on the elevator, you know, it's like we're all like people are all smashed in there, but everyone's just talking to each other and.
That's the friendly South, isn't
And
it?
I'm like,
That's the
oh,
South.
do these
Lots
people
of
know
nice,
each
friendly
other? And
people.
it's like, no, they just talk to each other and they don't even know
Why
each
do they
other.
talk to each other?
This isn't like LA at all.
They must go back a long way, right?
Funny.
Yeah, so it's a nice place to be.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big one, right? This is a big convention, is that correct?
It's like 70,000, right?
Something
Yeah.
like that.
It's fantastic. I love how laid back it is. I think that's my favorite part about it. Everyone's just chill and happy.
I just like this hotel. It's fantastic. The Marriott, that big
Oh,
atrium
the
in the middle.
elevator is awesome too.
That's scary.
Like the Tower of
I look over and I feel like I might jump. Like,
Or throw up.
Don't do
yeah.
that. You're not really the canary.
they say you're not really afraid of heights, but it's not
You're
that
afraid
like
of jumping.
you're afraid that you might actually jump. That's what
Yeah.
the fear of heights comes from. I'm not afraid of heights.
But just call
I'm
you
not
turn
afraid of
double.
anything.
I know.
Yeah.
Atlan,
Yeah.
Atlan, go to my hotel room for me. It's
Could you
fine.
just jump out of there for me? Get out. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get it out of my.
Oh, she's not that good. Look at her. Anyway.
So speaking of the costumes and everything, Paul, I know you enjoy photography a lot. Have you been taking any pictures around? And I like to see the stuff that you take on set. Do you guys? It seems like a very convivial set. So I guess a two-part question: are you having fun with the pictures at the con? And
Yeah,
tell
well,
me
we
a little
had
bit about the set.
we had the one that we just did before the ladies arrived, and the group photo.
He's always like he's selfie king.
But I had a blast at Comic-Con because you just got to, you know, you got a lot of people that are quite happy to be photographed. Let's face it, actors and people coming to a Comic-Con dressed up in costume are like, we should be okay with getting photos here. But you know, I like that. I mean, I've always kind of. It's my underpants.
You're not a guest.
I've always liked photography over the years and a few exhibitions and bits and pieces in the past and whatnot. But you know, with these phones in your pockets these days and like these little filters, like, kind of, you know, it's pretty easily done. It's a lot more easily done than the old film, send it away, get it developed. And I kind of miss those days, but wouldn't really suit social media, would it? Anyway, yeah, we are having fun taking photographs for sure. Yes. Yes.
And on the set, because I've seen some of those, and just tell us a little bit about what it's like working on the set, because the show can be pretty serious, but it seems like the set is not so much so. I don't know.
I don't know. I think everybody, to me, there are definitely moments of lightness here and there, but I think everybody likes to think that there's loads of prankster action going on and lots of craziness and all the rest of it. But I'll be honest with you, like, there is not much time to mess around when you're shooting television. And sure, there are moments of lightness and fun and humour that definitely help you get through like long days when they're happening. You need a sense of humour to survive it half the time, you know. But at the end of the day, like, there's not much room for really messing around constantly. I remember doing shows 10 years ago, and there was definitely a whole lot more messing around going on. It really was. This is just like, messing around over there, but now you're anywhere near the camera, getting on with it, you
I
know.
feel like we get in trouble when like, or at least when it's like me and Willa and Colton. It's like.
No
and
comment.
If there's if we start like playing around, then it's like it's hard to turn it off when they're like, okay, time to work, you know, because if you're laughing and then we're trying to get stuff done, so we are like little kids and we're like, we're good.
Yeah, everyone's great. Everyone approaches it very professionally and just, you know, everyone knows that there's a lot to get done in a short period of time, so let's get on with it.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of fun to be had. But there's also a job to do.
And then there's John Barrowman.
And then there's Barrowman, yes. Everything I just said, forget about it. When Barrowman arrives, it's a circus, and they're just trying to keep the TV show rolling on behind it somewhere, you know? And he's brilliant, you know? You have those moments where a little bit or a lot of humour definitely goes a long way. You wrinkle it in barrow loads. There we go.
We have time for one more question.
I work for a website called gonzogeek.com where we say that everybody's a geek about something. So what do you guys geek out about in your personal lives? And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be comics or movies. It can just be whatever.
It's a good question.
Pictures of baby animals.
Yeah.
I just found this one thing where it's like a duck slide, and the ducks run up,
Yeah,
and it's like a little slide, and they just keep running up. I can watch that thing on repeat for hours.
Have you seen the one with the two mice on the treadmill thing?
Oh, was
it's in a
it-
pet store window. Have you seen? Look it up. It's so ridiculous. But one of them is whizzing around and the other one's trying to hold on and the other one gets spun off. And then he comes back on and he goes, sod you, and he goes, and then the other one spins off. And it's just one of those, you watch it going, why am I watching this? And then you're like, but I'm laughing my head off. It's just one of those like, minute 12 seconds and it's just hilarity.
There's another one with a red panda that gets scared. Has anybody seen that one?
Another one that's isn't that the sneezing panda?
No, that's a regular panda, and the baby sneezes and scares its mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And cat videos were pretty good. Oh God, who am
Go
I?
and turn it to YouTube. I like trees. I'm obsessed with trees. Trees are amazing. I just stare at trees. And I am a tree hugger. Because if you don't go up to, this is amazing thing in Vancouver, you walk around Stanley Park, it's just like, oh yeah, well, Stanley Park, and you suddenly go, have you seen that tree? And there are trees like the width of this room, just in Stanley Park, at the bottom of your street or whatever. And I'm sorry, but I do secretly hug them in the dark. So,
What else do you secretly do to them in the dark?
I just hug them. Let's start vicious rumors. You hold on to a tree, and all that energy that's coming out of the ground, and producing that, and then all that photosynthesis and everything that's going on, this whole... Anyway, that's my geek thing.
I had that whole time to think of something. I don't know. I really don't know. Internet memes? I don't know.
What does that
A
mean?
meme is like, the photos where they put where they write on the top and the bottom of something.
It's like
No,
that
I
little
don't
kid
know.
that's like going like this, and he goes, "Thank God it's Friday," or something like that. It's just like something weird.
Okay, is that it? Is that your geek?
I told you I don't have
You
one.
can do better than this.
There is an arrow man.
Baking, I really like baking.
Okay, there-
Knitting, what about knitting?
You
like
like
knitting?
knitting. You knit
I
great things.
stopped knitting. I haven't been knitting.
I'm upset.
I'm trying to help you.
I know. What's with baking?
Nori, you're a good friend of Katie. What does she geek out about?
It depends on what she's reading.
Okay. What are you reading right now?
I like reading.
What are you reading right now?
Reading was good.
The Way of the
Apparently she reads
Superior
books
Man.
or something.
Yeah.
What?
The Way
She
of the
geeks out on
Superior
that right
Man.
now.
There you go.
I geek out on books. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
that's-
Yeah,
great.
books.
Every man should read that book, by the way.
Oh, right, whatever. I will.
All right.
There you go.
That
That
was
answers your
great.
question.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.